Welcome everybody to Horizons. Welcome to Labor Day special Sunday. I want to welcome all of our guests, all of our family, whenever and wherever you are watching. Today is a really important day for us. The first thing that I want to vision out to you that's really important to Horizons, to your leadership, to your staff, is rest. Now I know Labor Day is not a holy day, but it is so important as we focus on Sabbath, as we focus on resting and taking a breath. So if you're one of those people that is go, 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 or even if you feel like life is continually causing you to go, 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 hear these words from the psalmist, Psalm 127. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builder labors in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat. For he grants sleep to those whom he loves. And it is so important to remember that it is always God first, that personal relationship with him that will then pave the way, that will then open up the doors for the rest of our lives and our work and our toil and the things that we're called to in the world. So join me this morning in listening to some important stories, finding rest for your soul. We call this Life Change Sunday because after all at Horizons, as disciples of Jesus Christ, we are life changed and then following him, life changers. You're going to hear two incredible stories that are more than just important to Horizons. They are the bedrock of everything that we live for, everything that we work for, serve for, pray for, and hope for. I think you'll be really amazed. I love these stories, and I'm so glad that we get to tell them and hear them and lift them up before God. So I want to thank you for being with us this morning. And thank you for being Horizons.
So good morning, I'm Kirsten Wilder. I first came to Horizons in 2016. I've been there about 5 years now. And when my family moved to Lincoln from Los Angeles, I knew we wanted to get involved in the church, and I had children that age. And so I decided to start helping with Fusion. I had a daughter in 5th and 4th grade at the time. And so I jumped into the Fusion ministry with both feet, mostly to just keep track of her and make sure the transition for her from Los Angeles to Nebraska was going to go well. And I've always thought I want to be the mom that, knows who their friends are. And so this was a great way to do that. So I started volunteering right away with the Fusion ministry and got put with the 5th grade girl group. And it was kind of great. Loved those girls. My daughter had a birthday shortly thereafter, and we invited them all to a big trampoline game. So that was kind of great. And then it just kind of continued from there. I stayed with that group then through their middle school years, and probably didn't think much of it. I was probably more being like the helicopter parent that just wanted to know what was happening. But then I started seeing like really cool things happening with this group of girls that I was tracking with. We would go on the Fusion retreats and things like that. And then I'm pretty sure I didn't realize the impact I was having on them during these 4 years until they got confirmed. This group of girls were the ones that had to do confirmation outside because of the pandemic. So I went up to church and I, listened to them, and they were giving their testimony, and then like my name kept being said by one girl after the other. And I thought, oh my gosh, like I mattered to them, and what we were doing was like getting through. And I, got chills and kind of teary-eyed, and I thought, oh, they're going off to high school and I'm not going to be with them, because I said to my daughter, high school, off you go. You need a new small group leader at this point. And then I got a couple of letters from these girls, and I was like, oh, geez. So they asked me to come along to high school with them, and I checked in with my daughter Eden first because she needed the final say on it. I was very concerned with, her spiritual growth as well, and can I keep doing that for her? So I talked to Eden, and Eden said, Mom, they love you. You've been with us for 4 years. You need to keep coming. So when they started high school last year during the global pandemic, I came along. I came alongside of them during that time, and we kind of expanded what we did. I mean, once they get to high school, they meet every week, which is different than Fusion, which is every other week. And so we decided we wanted to get together and have like a dinner club. And so I don't know, the first week we had 13 people out here on my deck, and we had dinner, and we just sat here and talked and sometimes play games or, get some tunes going. Every girl added a song to the playlist, and so we play that. And then when it's time for a rise, we would just walk up there. We're just a couple of blocks from the church, and that was really, that was one of the factors in deciding to come to Horizons, to be close, because when we lived in Los Angeles, driving is a whole nother thing. And when you live close to your church, you can get really involved because you're just there and can bop over. So we really like that idea too. So continued last year with all of its challenges, and I think that kind of helped even bring us together more because of like the extreme situation, these girls going to school every other day and going to school on Zoom. And so just figuring out ways to stay connected. We delivered little Christmas gifts to each of the girls. Eden and I went out there and did that and brought little goodie bags when we couldn't meet in person because we were just Zooming. The girls had a great time egging people's houses for things like that. And it's been really fun to watch these girls. They're all like 15, so this year they're learning to drive, so I'm trying to think of something cool with that. But watching them develop into, life changers themselves. So many of them were involved in VBS this year, and when we found out that most of them were on the color yellow, we went shopping that day, and we had a great time just looking for yellow things. We even found like a yellow car that we thought maybe they should all arrive in at night. So just fun things like that kind of spontaneously come up. It's fun to watch them getting involved. A couple of them are really passionate about the Justice and Mercy team, so I'm excited for the Be the Bridge study that's coming up next, because I know that's really going to hit hard with them, who are looking for deeper ways to connect their faith. And it's a pleasure to come alongside of them. And I think I get them for all 4 years of high school, so that is going to be really terrific to watch them into that. And then here's what they don't know, unless they watch this on Sunday mornings, is that I work at the university. So I might even get a bonus 4 years with this group of girls. And I think that'll make me really happy as the Spirit just moves through me and them for, what is their faith going to look like for their whole lives. This high school time is such a key time in their lives when they're trying to figure out, what's up and what's down. And so hopefully Horizons, Arise, myself can just be there for those girls and push them onto the right track when they're trying to figure things out. And let's, look at the hard issues and see what Jesus had to say about that. And hopefully that will set them up for making good choices throughout their life. So it is truly my pleasure to come alongside of them, and I'm very grateful that that my daughter Eden has allowed that to happen. Yeah, so as all of you are thinking about ways to get involved in the congregation, I would really encourage you to try different things, see what sort of works. What I've seen for myself here is just the immense sort of pleasure I get from watching these girls go out and help with VBS and sort of setting their roots down, and the knock-on effect of that is just, when the Holy Spirit leads you, and the effect that can be within all of the girls whose lives I'm touching, and that you can touch too when you get involved in the church. And oh my gosh, I really encourage you all to do that.
Wow. I love Kirsten's story, and I'm so thankful for it. When we talk about being life changers, I don't think we always know when or how that's going to look. But what really spoke to me about Kirsten's story is just that she made herself available. She knew a couple things that she basically wanted in her situation with her children and her family, and then she went for it. And then God started building a story and relationships with these girls, with her, to the fact that now there's this whole life story that Kirsten gets to tell about these girls that she walked with 4 years, 8 years, and just like she said, potentially all the way through college. Few people get to tell that story, but all of us have the opportunity to live into that and let it happen and see what sort of life comes forth from it. And if you think about that, all of these girls, all of these students are going to continue to have this recollection of this person who cared for them, poured into them, walked with them through some of the best things, through some of the toughest things, that there was always someone there. And that matters for their faith. It matters for eternity. It matters for the next generations. It matters for our world. It was simple. And then it turned into something just like a mustard seed that truly filled up the kingdom. And I just want to celebrate how many of you are living into that same story, and how many of you are letting what you have and where you are matter in incredible ways for incredible stories. So thank you, Kirsten.
Hi, my name is Angie Courier. A few weeks ago, Pastor Jason said, if you're serving and you're uncomfortable, it's exactly where you should be. So this is exactly where I should be today. But I am excited to share with you the journey with how my family came to Horizons and why we've stayed. Before we get too much further, I'd like to introduce my family. Bailey is 11. She is in 6th grade at Irving Middle School. Hudson is 10, and he is in 5th grade at Beatty Elementary, and they both now attend Fusion. I'm going to share that while I was getting ready to tape this, I was given an outline. Number 1 was introduce yourself, so check. Number 2 was the problem, and I was like, how much time do you have? Because like my problem since this morning, my problem in the last year. But then it was kind of reminiscent of the fact that sometimes I get caught up with the problem and I forget to see the blessings along the way, and just how rerouting the story, although not in the manner that I would have chosen, was exactly God's plan. So 4.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with Legionnaire's disease, and that's only important to the story because I'm a fake it till you make it type of person, and I have a really hard time asking for help. And in those moments, I was really short of breath and really panicky, and that was the first time that I turned to praying first. I would pace up and down and try to catch my breath and pray over and over Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will guide you with my righteous right hand. So now, thankfully, not only when I'm short of breath, but also in trying times, it was my blessing to learn how to pray first. Now, during that time, I was home for 4 months off of work. And my husband was very supportive and very loving, especially with my health problems. He was a good daddy. He was a kid himself, so very fun to be around. While I was off work, I did learn some things that had been happening. We were a couple that went through Financial Peace University together, and we're working our way up the steps for that plan. We were working off the envelope system with cash, and I found out overnight that I now owed more than my house was worth. We worked really hard with our church and counseling, and we came up with a plan for how to move forward. But then almost overnight, he traded one addiction for another, and alcohol ruined our family. Like so many people, my husband felt such shame, and still to this day does not feel like God's grace applies to him. For 3 years, we worked as a family. He went to rehab countless times, counseling, daily checks from our senior pastor. After much trauma and so many safety concerns, there was nothing I could do but walk away. I was devastated and felt so alone. I was now a single parent with 2 traumatized kids trying to pick up the pieces. I clung to part of Genesis 16:13, "You are the God who sees me." This was a very private, very lonely part of my life. Divorce was never a word spoken in my house growing up, nor in my church growing up. And even sharing this with you today, I cannot believe that this is how that story ended. I'm a fighter and I'm a fixer. But in the end, after not being able to find my husband for a year, I ended up getting divorced over Zoom by myself after 12 years of marriage. During this time, I would go on long walks with my friend Emily Andrews. They had just joined a new church the summer before, and we took her up on that. In January 2020, my family attended Horizons for the first time. And I hope you know how amazing you are, because I went to a church here in Lincoln for 2 decades, got married in that church, dedicated 2 kids in that church, were a large part of the children's ministry. And the day I left there, I had less of a community than the day that we joined Horizons. The genuine welcome that we received was such a blessing to such a broken household. Because of this, the first thing I volunteered to do was become a part of the host team. Then my children, who had really struggled with children's church at our previous church, had the time of their lives in DZ. In fact, I was kind of worried because I didn't know what I was going to do if I decided we weren't going to Horizons, because they were like, this is it, we're going to stay here. Shortly after, the world shut down. So I met many of you through women's ministries on Zoom. My kids met you through DZ on Zoom. In fact, this summer was the first time we met many of you face to face without masks on. But without the world slowing down and without Horizons going to Zoom, as a single mom, I would not have been able to participate in as much as I did. I started with the Lead Like Jesus class and did several women's ministry studies, was able to do growth tracks, and then most recently volunteered for VBS. I have truly never met a group of people with more genuine joy and kindness and acceptance. My children thrive in children's ministries. In fact, Derek will often report funny things that Hudson says or does, and I wonder if he has the right kid. He comes alive at Horizons. And the fact that Bailey can sit on a couch in Fusion and receive godly counsel and feedback to big issues will serve her well her entire lifetime. I love people and have always surrounded myself with people, but not until my world completely changed did I see not only the benefit but the necessity to choosing my group of closest friends and confidants as those who also love the Lord and call upon Him. The fact that now I have people I can text for prayer and that I can ask for their prayer requests in return is a friendship and a community that I didn't even know that I needed. So thank you for accepting us to Horizons. We feel blessed and privileged to be a part of this community, to counsel and to grow our family, and to serve those around us.
Again, I'm so thankful for the stories that we've heard today. Angie, thank you for being honest, for being vulnerable, and still being so hopeful. Now, I have to be honest, I have been a little bit more emotional since I have come back from my sabbatical, from my 3-month renewal leave. But when I first watched and heard Angie's words, I wept. And I thought, my goodness, that's the church I want to belong to. That's the church I want to go to. Welcoming the brokenhearted. Just letting someone be somewhere that matters, that feels good, that begins to pick up those pieces and put them back together. Friends, we have no idea what a simple gesture of our welcome, of our smile to someone, of our striking a conversation or helping someone find their way around. We have no idea how much that matters. But Horizons has always been a place that welcomes people exactly where they are. How to say you don't have to walk the walk, you don't have to talk the talk to come through these doors. All you have to do is let your heart be open. And then Jesus takes us and our families and our hurts and those pieces and puts them back together. So thank you, Horizons, for being that church that I love calling myself a part of, that I want to go and be a part of. Thank you for doing that. And I want to encourage you, keep doing it. The more that we continue to have this vision of this is what we're doing and this is how much it matters, the more we will continue to see God's incredible life change story in our lives and in the lives of those we welcome and serve and love and walk with and pray for. So, also, what you have to see in all these stories is the incredible river of life change that has become Horizons. That is in our adult ministries and the women's ministries that really swept over Angie and welcomed her in. It's in the Discovery Zone and the children's ministries that welcomed children in so fast that they said, we're done, we're here. It is the Arise ministry, it is the Fusion ministry, it is the hospitality ministry, it is all of these things that come together to make that happen. And friends, you know this, but I always want to celebrate it. It is you who paved the way for that life change. It is you who began the writing of those stories when you give to the mission of Horizons. You're not giving to a building, you're not giving to a budget, you are actually fueling this life change. That matters so much for others, that matters, I'm guessing, for you as well, as you receive God's grace and mercy and truth every time that you set foot in the building, every time that you come in contact with another life changer, every time you are encountering a message like those that you've heard today. So I want to invite you simply to go to horizons.church/give. If today is your first day, we've made it easy for you to start that giving relationship. We encourage you to make it regular so that you know, whatever life phase in, that this is something that you have set your sights on and have locked your heart on as incredibly important. This is what we live for. We live for it together. And I'm so proud to call us Horizons. So I do pray today that your day is restful. I pray today that if you're watching this on another day other than Sunday, that this gives you a chance to rest, to take at least one deep, peaceful, spirit-filled breath of Jesus Christ, and that it replenishes you, that it gives you new courage, that it gives you new hope, and that it reminds you of what the most important thing is, our personal relationships with Jesus and all that flows from it. Horizons, we'll see you next Sunday. We're going to start a new series, and life just continues to get better. We'll see you soon.